All right, let's go to Tampa Bay 20, Minnesota Vikings 17. One of the upsets of the weekend was a 6-point spread, I believe, going in. And the Bucks pull off the win in Baker Mayfield's debut in Tampa Bay. I thought, both offenses kind of started slow, other than Justin Jefferson. But it started slow, and then Baker Mayfield started making plays as the game went on.
Baker's back, baby.
Yeah, man. It was look, I mentioned I might be higher on the Vikings than most, even though the data suggests that the one score games that they won last year, that's going to revert back, right? Mm-hmm. And it reverted back so far. They were 10-0, 11-0 during the regular season last year in one score games. They're 0-1 now, so we might already be seeing some of that Vikings regression. But look, I think the Bucs deserve credit. Todd Bowles, his defense made a bunch of key stops. And Baker made just enough plays. Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. And Bucs win it, 20-17.
Yeah. I feel like Baker Mayfield is a little bit like, what's the guy's name from White Men Can't Jump? Sydney? Where Woody Harrelson is making him mad because he plays better when he's mad, and most people don't. I feel like Baker Mayfield is one of those guys that plays better when he's pissed off about something. Now, might not be good enough, but better. You get the best version of Baker Mayfield, whatever that is, when you make him a little bit mad. And that's why you get the grabbing his groin, the planting the flag thing, the beating the dude in the warm-ups in college. Like the whole list of his college career was just him being annoyed about everything, right? Getting slighted for starting jobs, whatever it was. He found a really easy way of being annoyed by everything. Now in the NFL, he hasn't had that for a while. But the Vikings got chippy with him in this game and pissed him off. So you get like a good version of Baker Mayfield again. He was laying his body on the line. He was making some good throws. He was taking what was there, and the Vikings defense gave him some stuff, like one-on-one with Mike Evans on a safety. There was some plays to be had. And we got a pretty good version of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Vikings defense played really well overall, but there was a few times where, like you said, Evans matchup, and Mike Evans had another slant that he dropped that probably could have been a touchdown. It's at some point the Vikings, I think, lack of talent in the secondary just caught up. But they were missing Marcus Davenport. They were not getting pressure. The Bucs offensive line was really good from a pass protection standpoint. They still looked like last year's team running the ball into nowhere, despite a new scheme and everything. But I thought the Vikings played all right defensively until, other than, a few mishaps. And then at the end of the game, again, the Bucs, they had to make plays. And to me, here's the story of the game. Todd Bowles, and it was 4th and inches, tie game, fourth quarter, about 8 minutes left. Tie game. And Todd Bowles goes for a 4th and 1, 4th and inches in his own territory, on his own 32, right? These are the types of plays where if they fail, the morning shows, the yelling shows, Sam, are calling for jobs. This is reckless. You're putting your team's jobs on the line. Why would you do this in a tie game? If they fail, the Vikings are already in field goal territory, right? For a game, go-ahead field goal. And the Bucs sneak it. Did they try the double cheek push? They tried a little push.
That might have been. Was that the one? No, never mind.
Anyway, they sneak it. They get it. And that becomes the drive that leads to a 57-yard field goal. By the way, the Bucs hitting a 57-yard field goal didn't always happen previously. No. They've had kicking issues for the last 30 years. So that was the move. That was the play, right? And when we talk about the analytics and going forward and all that stuff, just ask it for the same energy when it works. Like that was literally the call that won the game for the Bucs. Going for it on your own 32. The thing we've seen way more of this the last few years, but 10 years ago you never saw this. Way more of this the last couple of years, but that was the call. And Todd Bowles last year, very conservative. Remember, he was punting the ball away down 2 scores with 7 minutes left in the game, right? Same situation last year, same amount of time left against the Saints, and they were punting down 2 scores. Not tied, down 2 scores. They still ended up winning the game, but those types of things happened last year with Todd Bowles. This year, he goes for it. And that was the win. That was the reason the Bucs won, because Todd Bowles was aggressive in his own territory, and that led to the game-winning field goal.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was a good Tampa Bay performance overall. They I think, surprised Minnesota, and the Vikings Like Justin Jefferson was his usual uncoverable self. He had 150 yards over the course of the game. Now most of that came in the first half, and then it kind of disappeared. I thought Jordan Addison made a few plays, enough to show that he can be a really nice complement. Alexander Madison was fine. Like the offense was okay. It just kept conspiring to screw it up.
Weird red zone interception. Christian Isian, the rookie slot corner for the Bucs, with just kind of rips it away for a pick. So those types of things, right? Red zone pick. I think Cousins forced it a little bit. Overall, I thought Cousins played pretty well, though. And I want to give credit where credit's due to Devin White as well. Devin White had the game that people thought he had. I think people started to catch on to Devin White might not be as good as the hype last year. But when Devin White was getting the hype, this was the type of game that people thought he had every single week. Flying around the field, making plays as a pass rusher, which he's always been good at, tracking down ball carriers, the lateral range, and all of it. Devin White was fantastic, and he's over here fighting for a contract. It's one game. But remember last year, Tremaine Edmonds kind of had that huge year leading into the contract year. We'll see if Devin White can keep it up, but he looked really good in this game.
Yeah, no, Devin White played fantastically. I thought Antoine Winfield Jr. had some really impressive plays, important plays. And yeah, they made enough to keep ahead of the Vikings.
At the end of the day, Baker still averaged about 5 yards per attempt. It was not a great offensive performance by the Bucs, especially early on, but they made a few plays down the stretch. And again, Todd Bowles he's got a good, solid defense. This is a good, solid defense. Todd Bowles is a good defensive coach. If you add in a little bit more aggressiveness, a little more underdog mentality for a team that is going to be an underdog in a lot of their games with the Bucs, I think they're going to be a little bit tougher maybe than we thought this season.
No, they played well, and they still sort of needed some, knife edge plays at the end to keep ahead and not give Minnesota a chance to come back and win it. Like Chris Godwin had an amazing catch on the sideline. Baker Mayfield had to launch himself into some contact to pick up the first down. It was still really close, but they did shock Minnesota. Like the Vikings, I don't think were expecting that.